Built by the great Victorian engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel in 1852, Paddington Station was originally designed for steam trains. But nearly 200 years later, the railway is going through a renaissance. The network is being electrified. It's a whole new way of running a train service, and it's a steep learning curve for everyone. It's mid-morning, and at route control, a major problem with the new electric infrastructure is brewing.
We had a series of overhead line tripping. Initially, we lost all 4 lines for electric traction current. We could run diesel, but not electric. But we managed to isolate the issue down, narrow it down to just 1 line only between Slough and Maidenhead.
It's going to be a challenge, not least because electrification is bringing in fresh engineering obstacles and a whole new vocabulary.
So we found what the problem is what we call a cracked pot, which is part of the overhead line equipment. It's not the type of pot you would normally cook in, obviously, but it's basically, that's a crack through there. So it forms part of the structure which holds the contact wire above the rail. And because it's been compromised by the crack, it's causing the electric current to short out.
The electrical fault has been narrowed down to just 1 pylon near Maidenhead, but the implications are far wider for Network Rail.
The actual isolated section itself is 3¼ miles, but the area where we're not running electric trains is near 5. So yeah, I mean, it's a good old distance. To fix it requires the engineers to take possession of a 2 line, go up in the air, take that thing off the stanchion, unbolt it, replace it, put it back up, test it, make sure it's not too low, not too high, make sure it's just right.
But Neil has a dilemma. Keep the disrupted services running as they are, or stop all trains to try and get the problem fixed before evening rush hour starts.
The decision I've got to make in the next 20 minutes, half an hour, is whether we go in and do it at lunchtime and then have everything back for us for the evening peak, or do we do it overnight? So it's working out the disruption that I know I'm going to have if I leave it in its present state versus the disruption if I decide to repair it.
The pot is a vital piece of insulating equipment that prevents electricity transferring to the pylons supporting the overhead lines.
It's easily replaced by 8 bolts, but it's the work getting the teams onto site, taking an engineering possession of 2 lines and an isolation of the overheads as well.
17 cancellations, 14 missed stations, 180 minutes delay so far. A good start to the day.
That'd be a lot worse tonight.
Yeah.
Because you're running all the electric trains over the down main.
Yeah, if we don't do it today, that would be 100 cancellations today, I expect. Yeah. Probably 100 missed stations. Yeah. Well, the only option is to repair it. The only choice we've got is, do we do it today or do we do it tonight?
At Paddington, Area Operations Manager Sachin Sangavi is getting an update about the problems caused by the cracked pot.
Network Rail advisor section 4008 at Maidenhead on the down relief has stripped. Attempt has been made to reset. By stripped again, sections are affected between Maidenhead Airport junctions. All lines at present.
And the delays and cancellations in and out of Paddington show no signs of slowing down.
We've had to cancel a lot of services this morning, especially all the stops between here and Reading have been impacted massively. This seems like a serious issue now. It's been activated as red. We thought it could be okay, but it's a big job. That's what we've been told by the engineers.
Please record your name.
Neil Swindon.
With rush hour around the corner, Neil holds an emergency conference call with engineers to find out how long the repair will take.
Most of you by now would have seen the photograph of the damaged pot. Now, if we decide to do the work today, how long would you need to do this?
It doesn't matter day or night, it's looking around about 3 hours.
A 3-hour repair will have a devastating impact on services, but not doing it may be even worse.
The upshot is do I shoot myself in my right foot or do I shoot myself in my left foot? Either or, it's going to hurt. So to repair the problem, 2 lines out of 4 blocked for 3 hours and a restricted service on the remaining 2 that remain open, or we leave what we've got in place now and run that to the end of the day.
Neil and his team need to make a quick decision to give engineers enough time to complete their work before peak service starts.
there'll be considerable delays to passengers this evening because we can't run electric trains down the relief line. All traffic would have to go via the main lines. Risk of bottlenecks and congestion, basically.
We decided to go for today. The reason for that is we want to protect the evening peak coming out of pad. So we're going to go in there, get rid of the problem and run normally for the evening peak. This job finishes at 3, so we'll have a couple of hours to try and to achieve that.
The decision made, specialist engineers are sent to Maidenhead to carry out the emergency repairs. But before they can start work, the relief lines need to be shut down and the overhead power lines isolated.
35 311. The 22-mile post, Steve, will be right in front of you.
At Route Control, senior managers are also ready and waiting for the work to start.
Everything is in place, hopefully, for the line blockage to be granted as it should be at 12 o'clock.
But there's a problem. The signallers have not yet granted the line block, which will allow the engineers on track. And it could leave Neil's well-thought-out plans in tatters.
We've got some bad news, haven't we?
Well, the line blockage hasn't been taken yet.
No? Why is that, fella?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
At Paddington, trains are still being delayed and cancelled. The start of the London rush hour is imminent, and if the work on the overhead lines is not completed, disruption will be severe. But finally, the news is coming in that Route Control have been waiting for.
Thank you, Paul. Cheers, bye. And that's confirmed, 12:27, the line block has actually been granted. So engineers are now walking out to site with their trolleys to start work on replacing this insulator.
But on site, not all is going to plan. Half an hour has been lost waiting for a line blockage, and now engineers are facing another setback. Another delay now could undermine the whole project.
It turns out that the brakes are seized on the trolley.
With the clock ticking, Supervisor Mick Fitzpatrick decides to take the matter into his own hands.
Give me those earths. Give me those earths, Justin. So we're going to carry the equipment up by hand. Well, it happens. There's not a lot we can do about it. We'll just have to adapt.
It's now nearly 1 o'clock, and Mick has just 2 hours to fix the electrical fault.
This fractured pot here, where it's been flashed over, at the moment the pot is busted, inadequate. It's not doing its duty up there. Quite rare for them to fail, but it's new equipment. We don't know what caused the failure, so the pot will get taken down, exchanged, and it will get sent off to the manufacturer to find out what the cause of it is.
First, the team need to build a 12-foot high platform to reach the cracked pot. Working next to live rails is extremely dangerous and stressful, but the ramifications of not completing the work will affect more than just Paddington's train timetable.
The pot has to be changed ASAP. If the pot broke, there's a risk of the whole lot swinging down and then hitting the train, and then we could have a dewirement. So if a major incident, then we could have.
Power to the overhead lines has been switched off, and a specialist clamp called a crown of thorns is used to discharge any residual electricity.
We tested the line there now, so we're getting indications that it's all de-energised. We go to the dead end to the live end.
With the lines made safe, engineers can finally get to work.
Now they'll just undo the pot now, they will, so it should be a straightforward job now in swapping it over.
The track needs to be handed back by 3 p.m. It's a tight deadline, and the team are struggling to get the job finished on time.
I'll pass up the new one, you will, first, Jim.
At Route Control, Neil Latham is starting to plan ahead for Paddington's rush hour.
Yeah, that'd be what it'd be. So I'll plan the train service recovery to start at 3:30. All right then, mate, no probs.
He knows they're behind schedule, so he's come up with a plan to claw back time.
But the clock's ticking now. It's 14:20. We're due back at 3 o'clock. Around about now, we should be taking the scaffolding down. And what we are actually at is we're just replacing the damaged component. The plan was to remove the scaffolding from site and take it away. But what we're going to do, we're going to throw it secure it in the line side cess, and come back and recover that later today. And that should save us 25, 30 minutes. And that should put us back on track. Yeah, we're up against it at the moment, clock's ticking.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Back on site, and engineers have taken off the cracked pot to replace it with the new one. And Mick finally gets a closer look at the damage.
But she's gone on both sides, Tony. See? Yeah, and then she's worse on this side. See, this is the bad side. So it's basically just gone the whole way through, which is very, very, very rare. As you can see, the actual fissure, it burned right through the whole pot. Just like as if the centre of the pot has just exploded.
With some final adjustments, the new pot is ready to be reattached to the pylon.
Now it's a matter of just doing everything in reverse now to reconnect the overhead ropes, and then that'll be it. Then we'll take everything off, then and clear the track, and then we'll hand the roads and the isolation, then we'll hand that back then to the powers to be.
The job is complete with just 15 minutes to spare, but there could be further delays as the line needs to be re-energised and the track unblocked.
Could have went better at the start of it, like, you know what I mean, but we made up the time down now, so everything's going to be handed back within the time frame that was allocated to us. So yeah, happy with it. I think when it comes to the peak service this evening, they should be sound.
15:22. Isolations all handed back. Everything re-energised.
No bang?
No bangs. Good. Up and down relief lines and up main running normally.
Yay. It's good news it's back. We planned for it to be back at 3, so we've gone past that by 22 minutes. It doesn't seem a long time, 22 minutes, but that's 22 minutes of time that we could have used to get back to the normal timetable. That's 22 minutes more disruption to the customer. Yeah, it's been challenging, in fairness, but that's what I paid to do, my job.
The engineering team have only overrun by 20 minutes, but Paddington is about to enter its busiest period, and the knock-on effect of 60 cancellations is beginning to take its toll.
Supposed to be 6 carriages. There's 2 carriages only.
The disruption caused by the cracked pot has meant that some trains, like the 1718 to Oxford, are too crowded, and its doors are already locked 5 minutes before it's due to depart.
Can you let us on the train, please? We're breaching your contract of carriage. Can you let us on the train? It's 4 minutes early.
Dispatcher Mohammed Osman is in the firing line.
Not letting people go home to their children.
It's because of a cancellation due to the earlier overhead wire issue. We're already hearing that it's quite full down there on that train.
You and me could dance there.
But there are only 2 carriages instead of 5, and that is a busy train every night. Busier because of the previous one being cancelled.
Afraid not going departing because we're too. There's lots of women. Sorry. Seriously, I get the train every day on the way in. I'm more crammed than that train.
Because if you imagine there's 2 trains worth of people on one train that is more than 50% shorter than it was supposed to be.
Why is it not allowed?
I'm on the side of the passengers on this one. Obviously, they've previously just had a train cancelled. What they've got now is a very small train. The passengers that are on the train are crammed in. It's going to be a hot journey. The passengers who can't get on, they're going to get very angry as well. I totally sympathise with them.
There's absolutely nothing I can do. The driver decided to close the doors because
They were right Saturday when the wedding was on, weren't they?
Huh?
They were working Saturday when there was a royal wedding on. Now, when we work every day of the week, they don't work again.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry.
It's been a struggle, but Paddington is now through the worst. But as late evening approaches, there's renewed activity. While the new overhead cables are throwing up new engineering challenges, there's still a never-ending list of more familiar and traditional repairs and maintenance work to be done.
Drill bits, new ones.
Tonight, team leader Danny Marshall is in charge of a 20-man strong team of engineers, replacing 4 sleepers on the approach to Paddington Station.
They are engineers to know that some of the timbers are starting to rot and we need to replace them. I've got a list in my folder of the ones that they desperately need to change because of the condition they're in. And that's why we come out and we love coming out and doing all these night shifts. I mean, we want to get as much done as we can in the allowed time. My role is basically I watch over the team that's working for us. I normally oversee what they're doing, make sure they're doing everything correctly, everything to what I want them to do, to my standard, which is pretty high for me. Start grabbing everything, please, boys, and taking it over there to platform 11.
Works delivery manager Tony Tuoy is overseeing the works, which is becoming increasingly urgent.
Where we're delivering the work tonight is Paddington Throat. It's basically where the main line and the relief lines all converge onto 6 lines and come into 14 lines at Paddington. Now, if one of them lines was to go down, that would have a big knock-on effect to the travelling public, because trains will then get backed up and it will delay customers. Over a period of time, if the wooden timbers aren't replaced with the weathering and the amount of traffic that runs over them, the vibrations, it would break the wood up and it would deteriorate and it would stop holding the rails together and it would stop keeping the rails at the right level and that could lead to derailment.
The main line into Paddington Station is now closed, but only for 4 hours, which means Danny needs to get his team working as quickly as possible.
They're now loading up equipment onto the trolleys and then they're going to push down to site.
The guys know what they need to do, so I expect a good job tonight.
On the tracks outside the station, Danny leads his team of engineers to the site where the badly damaged sleepers need replacing.
I mean, if you look at the state of this one here, I mean, it's starting to rot away. If I kick it, it's falling apart. It's water ingress that's started to eat away, and over the time they're getting worse. And the other reason is you'll get timbers that end up splitting like that.
Before the work can start, Danny first needs to check the gauge or width of the track.
I'm just making a mark on the rail so I know when I come back and check it before the end of the shift. It's the right gauge. 34, 35, bang in the middle. See, this one here is 2 timbers, so you're pulling a 15-footer and this one out as well. And then we got a rail in the way, but you've got a small one there. This one has to go out underneath. Darryl, get the lights set up, please. This one and this one, gentlemen. There's a 15-foot and an 8-foot.
To remove the heavy sleepers, first the surrounding ballast that holds them in place needs to be dug out by hand. Time is tight, and Danny has to manage 2 teams working simultaneously to stand a chance of meeting his 4 AM deadline.
We get some lighting set up, every team's down here. Grab your forks and your shovels, get the generator fired up. Pull it right on. That's it.
They need to dig a deep trough to allow enough room for the sleepers to slide out from under the rails.
Oh dear.
With the ballast cleared, the old bolts holding the rail plates to the rotten sleepers can now be removed. They need to meet strict deadlines, but just 1 hour into the work, they hit a problem. Some of the replacement sleepers are the wrong size.
We haven't got the size ones that we need for tonight. Darryl's actually cutting a timber in half for us, for the 2 10-footers and a 15-foot timber. What we've got is we've got a stack of 20-foot timbers here, so we're cutting them off the surplus stock we've got.
To claw back valuable minutes, another team is preparing the rails for the new sleepers.
They're all digging out the holes, getting them ready so we can put these timbers in. Go on then, throw it in, boys.
They now have less than 2 hours before the trains start running again.
Tell them, Monday, ready? 1, 2, 3. Pack that one, please.
And the team still have to replace the biggest sleeper of all, the 15-footer, weighing in at almost 50 stone.
Come this side of it, Jake.
3, 2, 1, pull!
With the last and largest sleeper finally in position, the tracks now need to be secured.
Right, get some ballast under it, please. Come on, Friday. Right under. Come on, get it going. Next step is we're going to start drilling some holes with this thing here. Then we'll put the new screws in. Jay, do that one first, please, outside one.
Tamping machines pack the ballast firmly in position, and the deadline is getting ever closer.
Well, it's 3:10. We've got about 15 minutes to pack up, tidy up, make sure the site's nice and tidy before we leave.
With minutes to spare, the team get the hard work done.
We've done what we've set out to do. We've come in to change 4 timbers, and 4 timbers is what I changed.
But they still have to check the track gauge to make sure it hasn't moved and it's safe to run trains.
I'll just come in there, please, gentlemen. Sorry, I'm gonna... That's better. 2 mil variance, that's beautiful. That's nice to gauge. So that's the one, that's the number I want, 35, that's spot on. We are cutting it fine to get off. It's now 3:45. He wants us off at 4, but went well. A few little hiccups, but that's part and parcel of working up here in Paddington.
Bang on schedule. Paddington is ready to welcome its early morning customers. But with trains leaving and arriving every few minutes throughout the day, hiccups are an occasional feature of life at the station. And it's the train on platform 9 where the latest problems are developing.
Train was moving and all of a sudden it stopped. Don't know what happened there, but driver probably have got some kind of a problem.
The 1500 train to Bristol has come to a sudden halt.
Brace to Bravo 13 over on platform 9. Obviously, whatever delay will go down to train fault, so obviously don't worry too much. But keep us updated as soon as you can.
But as dispatcher Raj Patel finds out, it's not the train that's to blame.
Right? Yeah, what's happened? Driver's keyed in the back when it started moving.
Oh, right, okay.
The driver of the Cardiff train on platform 8 has gone to the wrong platform and tried to take control of the Bristol train just as it was leaving, triggering the automatic braking system.
Yeah, base tomorrow anyway, just to cut in, just to make sure we've got what's going down, because we're getting some calls about this. So platform 9, the issue is the driver who should have been on platform 8 has put his key in the wrong train and halted the train. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's the one who caused the problem.
This is going to sound very strange. For whatever reason, the driver of the 1515 to Cardiff has put his key in the rear end of the train on platform 9, whilst another driver is trying to leave on the front end of platform 9. So, sort of like a tug of war, drivers trying to leave on either end of the train at the same time.
Which means the 1500 to Bristol now doesn't know whether it's coming or going.
Basically, if you have a key in either end of the train at the same time, you can't go anywhere because you've completely confused the train.
It's a first for even long-serving veterans of the railway.
This is first time it's happened in my entire life here. So.
It's quite shocking, really. Go ahead. Never heard it happen before, but it's quite unusual, very strange thing.
But getting the train moving again is not proving easy. The emergency stop has caused a fault in the rear power car, and rush hour is approaching.
It'll start getting busy just after 4, so we want to make sure we try and get this fault rectified on the train.
But time is against them, and a quick decision has to be made.
They've just come to a conclusion that it will go with one engine only, so the front engine will be running. So they're going to send it out with a delay now.
The decision doesn't affect passenger safety, but it will mean that the rear locomotive won't be able to make the return journey.
Graham, all good to go, platform 9, just waiting signal now, Graham. All good to go, thank you.
on 8. Thank you very much. Getting signal now, number 9. Getting signal now, number 9.
So, second time lucky. But it's not just the driver who's got his platforms mixed up.
This one's Cardiff. No, Cardiff is 8. You're lucky.
Well, I'm telling you, sometimes it could be very smooth going, and suddenly something happened and everything changed.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. That was such a strange one that the person who runs delay attribution doesn't actually believe me. So it was like, are you sure? Because it doesn't sound right. And I was like, well, yeah, it's a bit messed up, but it's the truth. I'm sorry, right?
But the hiccups on platform 9 aren't over yet. It's a different train, but a similar story.
Yeah, just had another one. But I just had a technical problem. And they couldn't start up the rear engine on this one, so just going on one engine. The second one on platform 9, yeah, so hopefully the third one we're lucky, I hope.
But after a short delay...
That went about 8 minutes late. There was a 50-52. Straight after we got a 1600, yeah.
Trains on platform 9 are running smoothly once again.
9 is a bit naughty, yes, today especially. Well, it's one of those days, yes.
Over on platform 11, it could also be one of those days.
So that one, so that one's got no hole. That one's got a tiny hole.
Tiny hole.
Structural engineers Matthew Reed and Sebastian Pizzini Pickart are investigating the state of some of the iron beams that hold up part of Paddington's roof, ahead of planned works later tonight.
This one's in good condition.
Yes, that's in good. As far as we know, what you've exposed so far is in good condition.
The beams are a vital part of the station's structure and act as a bridge to support the taxi rank and a busy slip road above the station. The crucial question for Matthew is, how serious are the defects they're uncovering?
So at the moment, we're just going through with the contractor, identifying what the work is that needs to be required to do tonight. Because we found some defects within the bridge structure itself, just asked them to break out a bit more of the brickwork that's been covering up the beams. And then once they've done that, I'll be going up there and carrying out some measurements so that I can take back and do an assessment of the condition of the bridge.
The steelwork is supposed to look like this. Instead, some of it looks like this. Concrete and brick cladding added in the 1950s was supposed to protect the original steel framework. Instead, it has trapped moisture and begun to corrode it.
And then it just goes to show how much water is having an impact and what the concrete and the water are doing to the metal behind. It's accelerated the rate of corrosion within the steel beam.
After a quick change of clothes, Matthew shows Joe Porter, one of the station's managers, why the strength of the beams is so important. They run directly beneath the busy slip road alongside the station.
So you've got our main beam here. Platform runs out to about here. You then got line 11.
Yep.
And then you've got line 12 that runs roughly in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And then as we get this way, you've got end of the start of platform 12, the barriers, and then obviously we've got the columns that support St Mary's Hospital.
Yep. Okay. When you're on the platforms, you would not know there's a road.
No, quite.
You'd never class it as a bridge.
So.
And tremors from passing traffic are a worrying sign.
That's a little disconcerting. And it shows
that just shows you the weight going over.
It does show you the weight going over, which does concern me a little bit.
Yeah.
If the defects uncovered are serious, it won't just be the station that is affected.
But you've got one beam that runs here, and one where we've been doing the work along here. So if we need to dig these beams out, this whole thing needs to be shut.
Not good.
It's not ideal.
No.
But then that's the worst case scenario, so
yeah.
I'm confident we should be okay.
As the last trains leave the station, Matthew's team can get to work.
So we're going to have a tower here, tower the other side.
Yep.
Yeah. Tower there and a tower there.
Yeah, so actually, have the 2 towers there, because then I can measure up, get out of the way of you guys, and then you can crack on with what needs to be done.
First, they start drilling through the 7 inches of concrete and brickwork. What they uncover will determine whether it's a minor refurbishment or major works, which will shut down platforms and the roadway above for weeks.
What we've got to do now is either carry out life extension works to the bridge itself, or do we have to rebuild the bridge completely? Now, I'd rather carry out life extension work than completely rebuild the bridge. But this is what this investigation that's breaking out will inform us and tell us what's the right decision to do. The worst case scenario is we have to take the bridge out and replace it. It's the very worst case. I don't think it'll come to that.
But as more of the original iron structure is uncovered, Matthew gets a very nasty shock.
Whereas all this just crumbles away in your hands. Shouldn't really be able to do that. This is as worse as it gets. If this was like this all the way through, we'd have a major, major problem. So what I'm trying to understand is, say, the area that I've lost, and also what's the thickness that I've got left. I haven't got much left anyway, but the original thickness of the metal is supposed to be about 20 mil thick. In sections I got between 8 millimeters and less. So nearly 75% of the metal is gone. It's not what we want to see. I'm hoping it's the worst section we'll find tonight. And I think it probably will be.
For Matthew, who's worked on the railways for 3 years, it's more than just a professional setback.
I don't like finding things wrong with my bridges. I take it a bit personally.
But the more the ironwork is exposed, the worse the news.
So out of 4 areas that we've broken out this evening, 3 of them have had some steel defects that we weren't expecting. The steel work has been corroded far more than we could probably ever have imagined.
It's frustrating because you can't fix it straight away.
This is still an operational railway.
Yeah, I can't fix it.
This line has to be opened in the morning for the first train.
Even though the ceiling has been passed as structurally safe, very soon one of the original Victorian iron beams will have to be completely removed and replaced.
To take that beam out is a very, very, very significant work. So yeah, it's not ideal. It's the worst thing I could hope for, or expected. Very worst thing.
It's only one beam, but the ramifications for Paddington will be enormous.
To do the physical work, maybe a week's disruption perhaps. And that's just to lift the beam out, put a new one in, bolt it all together. It's a lot of work. It's very time consuming, because you've got to take the road surface up as well. It's the nature of the railway. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Today there's been a bit of a losing day. It's a nightmare. It is the worst case scenario you can ever expect for a mainline station, where you're taking 3 platforms out of use on the busiest station in the network. It is a nightmare.
It's a brand new day at Paddington. And in the control room, Graham Parker has noticed some early birds on platform 8 that don't appear to be going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not a train spotter, firstly. I want to put that out there. Everyone thinks that I am. Everyone thinks my dad is. I'm not a train spotter. As much as I don't like train spotting, I do like train spotters on the station. Right now, we have these couple of people here, and they're very nice. Obviously, a dad's taken his son out, which is very sweet, and he's got a little pad and everything.
And Graham has learned from experience that train enthusiasts can also be surprisingly useful.
One time I got a call from a train enthusiast to say that there was a fault on a train as it was passing Hayes. And I was like, I didn't believe it, but I thought, you know what, he's I'll look it up, because if I don't, it'd be stupid not to, you know. They look out for bad things. Like, they notice stuff that security staff don't notice. They notice stuff that I don't notice. Faults on trains, people looking dodgy.
But among the train enthusiasts, Richard has his eye on a man on platform 8 at a popular spotter's vantage point.
This chap seems to be moving towards the end of the platform. I'll call route control. So we've just had reports that evidently there's a male, possibly with a crutch or a walking stick, and he's gone way beyond the safe barrier line at the end of the platforms. He's actually sat on the floor, but the thing is, he keeps wandering down the end of the slope.
And all of a sudden, Richard and his control room colleagues are not quite sure who or what they're dealing with.
Yeah, copy that, thank you. So it's potentially that he could well be just a train spotter, or sorry, train enthusiast, or it may well be that he's someone in crisis.
And now on platform 8, there's a train coming.
You've got Delta 91 coming in now.
No, he's going down the slope again.
Yeah, right, base 2 Alpha, he's now going down the slope again.
At control, they make an emergency call to the signaller.
If you could put a stop on anything up 9 though.
Yeah.
But just as the situation is escalating, Richard spots something.
Hang on. He's making a note of the trains. He's a train spotter. It's all right. He's moving back. Yeah, good afternoon. It's Control in Paddington here. We've just had an incident here at Pad. This is a train enthusiast and he's overstepped the mark and going down the end of the platform.
That's brilliant. I'll ring them. No, they can let the train in. Thank you.
Okay, don't worry. It's all right. Sorry about that. They've mistaken a train enthusiast for someone who's in crisis. So we're just removing the man now. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Crisis averted.
He looks unstable because he's on a stick. He's got a bad leg. Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble now, really, because he's gone way beyond the yellow line. I mean, normally we'd just tell him to stand back and they'll be okay, but this guy, he's gone way beyond the point of, being a little bit naughty. Yeah, it looks like they're giving him a stern talking to.
The man wanted to get close to the trains. Instead, he's come up against the long arm of the law.
He's got to be careful because, to a certain extent, you can actually be done for railway trespass in the worst case scenario.
He could now lose his special train enthusiast pass for Paddington.
Unfortunately, he's going to lose his privileges and they're going to ask him to vacate the area.
And from Richard, a word of warning for anyone tempted to get too close.
I'm almost certain that passengers or trespassers, etc., don't realise the implications of going beyond the yellow line. Trains, as they enter the platform, they're still probably doing 30, 40 miles an hour. It's still going to make a mess of you. I'm lucky he didn't get that far. It does look like he's just a train enthusiast who's just got a little bit over-eager. People don't kind of appreciate the mayhem that causes.